went to the ER because I was like, this is not getting better. One of the biggest symptoms that I felt was I could take like a half breath. I couldn't take a full breath. Now, typically, I can't really feel like I take a full breath with my issues, anyways, but it doesn't feel like there's a stop. I feel like if I keep pushing it, then I can, kind of take a full breath. And then eventually, when I release it, it feels better and it feels good. But this time around, it was just a half breath and I was not going beyond that. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? What is going on, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back into another video. Today's video, I don't know, at the moment of recording, I don't know what I'm going to name the video yet, but I am bringing you a health update and what has been happening to me for the last 2 to 3 weeks, actually. And it has to do with chest tightness, some chest pain, some chest discomfort, actually a lot of chest discomfort, but the tightness and the pressure is mainly what I've been dealing with lately. And let me tell you guys, it was so bad enough that I had to end up going to the ER. And to be honest, up to now, I still feel very off, and it doesn't feel very good, man. Let me tell you. So, if you want to know more, please stay around. I'm gonna tell you the whole experience. But I wanted to open up by starting to let you know what this video was about, and it's been really bad. I tell my friends and families, I'm like, look, if you want to know if something is wrong with me, check my hair. if I haven't gotten a haircut every 2 weeks or in 2 weeks, something's wrong with me and something is off with me. And I think I'm going into like my third week without a haircut because I've just been going through so much that, like, you kind of put those things aside and you don't care much for it. So yeah, well, here we go, guys. Well, let me talk to you guys about my chest pressure and my chest pains that I started having. Let me tell you the whole episode, literally what I've done up to this point, right? And to be honest, it's very, very scary. And before I even start the video, actually, it got to a point where I was going through it. I really felt like this was like my last day on earth. And I really, really felt like I should have told somebody to leave a message on my YouTube channel, like saying, Carlos has passed or something, or Carlos is not longer here with us, but his channel will remain type stuff. Because to me, it was that serious. To me, it felt that real. And up to now, it still feels very off, So, I got to talk to my family about that. That one day that if something ever happens to me, and really does happen to me, then I wish, they will leave like a message on Facebook, on my social media, or especially my YouTube channel, since I've been doing it for several years, that, hey, I'm no longer here type stuff, and no negative talk, just, it's real. That day I felt very real, and mentally and physically I still haven't recovered. But anyways, let's get right into the video. So about 3 weeks ago, I started suffering from a lot of chest pressure. Typically, I'm used to this chest pressure because of a lot of gas and bloating that I feel like pushes up into my chest and my chest cavity, right? Which up to this point, I mean, it's kind of normal in my life, and sad to say, but it is kind of normal. And those feelings I typically try to at night release, do breathing exercises, kind of put heating pads in my abdomen and my chest so I can just start working on releasing my diaphragm, and it feels much better afterwards, right? I can take a full deep breath. Well, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I started having this chest pressure again, and at night I felt like I released it, but it didn't feel like I released it all the way, So the following day, let's say I believe this was a Monday or so, and then the Tuesday I still feel that pressure, that chest tightness. And I was just like, man, I'm struggling to breathe, like legit struggling to breathe. So, that day went on, and it was Tuesday night. I try to release it again. And of course, I'm over here releasing as much as possible. But sometimes if I'm honest, trying to release your diaphragm every day is just so, it gets tedious. It gets boring. It's long. Sometimes it can take, 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes it can take an hour. And I'm not exaggerating, depending on how tight it is or how things are going in that area. So Wednesday came around, and on Wednesday, I, started stretching, and I was like, man, something just doesn't feel right, feels off. And I was working throughout the day. I worked from home, and I was in meetings, and I was like, this is uncomfortable. I was actually taking a training that day, so I think the training ended around like 5 or something p.m. But around 3 to 4, I had to leave, man. I had to hang up the call that I was on, and I went to the ER because I was like, this is not getting better. One of the biggest symptoms that I felt was I could take like a half breath. I couldn't take a full breath. Now, typically, I can't really feel like I take a full breath with my issues, anyways. But it doesn't feel like there's a stop. I feel like if I keep pushing it, then I can, kind of take a full breath, and then eventually, when I release it, it feels better and it feels good. But this time around, it was just a half breath, and I was not going beyond that. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Of course, I understand when you're taking, shortness of breath, then it could be something serious. So I had given it already like 2 days, and I ended up going to the ER. I ended up going to the ER. Long story short, they checked me in. They did testings for blood work. They did an X-ray. They did an EKG. The regular things that they do when you tell them that your chest is tight or you feel chest discomfort. They're always gonna take care of you really fast. And they did all that. Now, probably an hour passed or so. I was waiting outside, and they came in. They told me to come in back, and they were like, "Yeah, everything seems normal. There's nothing here that seems out of line." And let me tell you something that day I really appreciated. There was a nurse that had, she was really friendly that day, and I really appreciated the way she handled my situation, because when she was again, remember, I'm outside, I'm struggling to breathe, I'm feeling this pain, this discomfort. To be honest, I don't even call it pain, but it's just a lot of discomfort, and I couldn't breathe right in the middle of my chest. And she's telling me like, hey, listen, the doctor said everything is good, good news, you're gonna be released. But inside, I'm like crying, and I couldn't help but start to tear up. And she was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm just like, everything came back normal, but I don't feel good, you know? And she was like, okay, well, let me go talk to the doctor. She went to talk to the doctor, and the doctor told her, like, listen, everything looks good on him. We don't want to make him go through another round of either x-rays or scans that he doesn't need, which, you know what? Fair point, right? But at the same time, in that moment, I felt so helpless, and she saw my agony that I was going through and what I was dealing with. And, she did feel empathy for me, which I appreciated. She doesn't have to. Yeah, it's her job, but she doesn't have to, man. She's a nurse, and after you're told that everything is good, then she doesn't have to do all of that. But I very much appreciated it. I was still, tearing up and crying, but she tried to do her best to make me feel better and to make me feel good. And that's something that, I feel like if a lot of health professionals had a lot of more empathy, and they were nicer in some type of for lack of better words, that would be really cool, man. That would be really cool for us patients, especially when we can't find answers for our problems, right? So eventually I ended up going home. On my way home, I can't breathe, and I'm thinking, where do I go? Do I go to another hospital? Do I tell them to run farther CT scans? What do I do? And I really made the decision. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go home. And if something happens to me, then I prefer to being at home, because I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm struggling. This is not easy on my body. This is not easy on me. And I'm over here still not able to breathe. So, throughout the time that I was, going home, I'm just crying. I'm sad. I'm, upset. I'm praying, of course, praying. And, letting God know that regardless of what happens, I love him, and, his will be done. And it's something that I've been practicing a lot, especially when scary moments come along, when things are not going your way, when you feel like this is your last day, your last moment. Just remembering that I don't want to have fear. I don't want my fear of my health always conquering me, right? And it's so hard to do, man. It's so hard to do, but it takes it takes a lot of faith. And, even though I was fearful in that moment, I'm not going to lie to you, but I try to speak truth, into my life. I try to speak life into me. And in those moments at home, I'm crying. So I came home, and as soon as I saw my family, I start crying. I go downstairs. My family comes downstairs because, they saw me. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't breathe. And, crazy as it seems, crying actually felt like helped my chest. I guess because of all the emotions that I was feeling, I feel like it was kind of something was going in there that was just like unraveling almost. I'm not saying that that made me feel so much better, but I was like, I knew something was happening when I cried. And I was like, well, thank God, something is helping. And throughout the day, throughout the rest of the day, I got back home like at 6 or something, um, from all of that, 6, 7. And I was just in bed. I was talking to my sister, my cousin, and eventually I kept, breathing out, trying to breathe out, trying to release the area that I believe was, causing things. And, around 10 o'clock that night, I felt like I had released my diaphragm, and I was able to take deep breaths again throughout the night. Although I didn't eat the rest of the night, um, I didn't eat. I was just drinking water. And I try to breathe as much as I could. I knew that in the next morning that I was gonna wake up with a tight chest, because typically when I go to sleep, my chest always wakes up in that chest tightness and chest pressure. It doesn't fail. It's always the same thing. And throughout the days, I was eating less. I wasn't eating too much. I was making sure that I was breathing correctly, that my chest was feeling better. So all that problem still, I was like, all right, what else can I do? Who do I go see? And I remember that recently I had a CT scan, right? I had a CT scan for my enlarged. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but my enlarged liver. Um, I had to go get a test again, another CT scan that was with I had to do it orally, right? It wasn't like an IV. It wasn't dye. It was I had to do it just orally so it can see everything inside. Well, it turned out this time around that everything looked good. But even my liver, there was no signs of liver inflammation, or it didn't seem enlarged. I forgot the name of that, but it, the person that saw and reviewed my test didn't see anything wrong with my liver. So I was like, wow, like great. I got off the extra vitamins that I was taking and whatnot, and it feels better. But my stomach came inflamed. They said that the walls or something were inflamed, or enlarged, I should say, something along those lines. But and right after that, it said probably due to inflammation, right? And I was like, well, damn. Like if it's not one thing, it's another. And the stomach inflammation, I'm like, well, what could cause my stomach inflammation? And I mean, one of the things that I first thought was like, oh, maybe ulcers, H. pylori, and whatnot. So it could have been, either or. I know I've had H. pylori in the past, and the first thing that I was tested with when I started suffering from my gastro issues was H. pylori. And I remember having I believe some ulcers at the time, and also stomach inflammation. And eventually I got like a whole round of medications that made me feel better. I got tested a month after, and H. pylori was gone, right? I got stools tested, and it was gone. So I'm like, maybe that's causing my inflammation. So I'm starting to think, let me try to concentrate on the root cause of my problems. Everything has always derived from my stomach. But this time around, all that chest pressure, I've never really, like, the way I felt it that day, I never really felt it like that. All that, breathing problems and not being able to take full breaths, that's not normal, right? But I started thinking, what if my stomach inflammation, and then I started remembering, like a week or so before, I had something similar happen to me, but it wasn't that extreme. But I also started suffering from a lot of gas and bloating. I mean, throughout the whole day, I felt so bloated and so gassy, that is just so uncomfortable. Sometimes it's even painful. It goes up to that point. So I'm over here like, what if that has something to do with it? What if that's causing all this pressure just to keep building up into my chest, right? What if, my gut health is not where it's supposed to be, right? Because I've been slacking off for some time. So those are one of the first steps that I took. All that chest, the pressure that I felt, the pain. I was like, let me do two things. I'm gonna go back to my natural medicine doctor. Although only reason I didn't want to go is because it's so expensive, so expensive. But I was like, what choice do I have? If Western medicine doctor can't help me, then I need to go and try that. And I also went to my chiropractor because I know that I had a lot of chest tightness, and she does this technique with this little, like, I wouldn't even call it a machine, but it's this little thing that just plucks you. And in the past, I've gone to her and it released, I guess the tension and tightness from my rib section, right? The back and the ribs and stuff. And I was like, I gotta go to her too because I want to make sure that my ribs are not tight, that at least, symmetrically everything is good. And I went to her, I believe last week, and that started helping me, right? That pressure started helping me, releasing that pressure started helping me. And of course, throughout the days, I've been eating much healthier. I went to the natural medicine doctor, holistic doctor. And listen, they are doctors, like they're actually doctors, right? But they practice the holistic side of things, the natural side of things. So they put me on supplements for my gut, and this is what I'm on right now. But I had to do an exam for my gut, like my gut biome, for to see if I have any excessive amounts of bacteria that's causing the gas, the bloating, all that uncomfortable feelings. I told them about my gut inflammation. I'm gonna see a gastro doctor to see what he thinks of that, and so he can see my whole basically report that I've gone through in my life, and see what he thinks of the gut, the stomach inflammation, because obviously I don't want to have that, right? So obviously I've been eating healthier. I'm taking my supplements at the moment, and then I'm waiting for this stool test, which was very expensive. I think it's like $700, but it basically checks for your biomes. It checks to see if you have maybe SIBO, IBS, and all these bacteria. They can kind of pinpoint what kind of bacteria or excessive bacteria do I have in my gut, because this was a stool test, by the way. So I had to fill up like 4 little tubes and then another little one. How to send that out, and I sent that out yesterday. And I'm gonna wait it for about a month for the results, because I guess they're waiting for it to grow. I don't know what they're doing on their end, but I know it's expensive. So I'm waiting on that, and I think the results, I think so, from what the doctor told me, it was gonna be like a 12-page results. Now I've never done that in my life, so I mean, I figured it's time to do something along those lines to see maybe what's going on, right? Maybe we can find some answers, or if there is an excessive amount of bacteria in my gut, take care of that. And then in the future, if it starts to happen again, then we will kind of have an idea that's probably this is the issue, and we can take care of it without having to do these extra testings. Does that make sense? So it's a long run play to try to find more answers, right? Well, on top of that, I decided to go to my doctor, and I told him that I wanted to get an allergy test. I wanted to test for allergies of basic foods. I'm like, in my head, I thought about what am I doing, or what am I eating that's probably maybe not that I'm not allergic to, but maybe my body rejects, or maybe my body doesn't take very well, and maybe I can stay away from that so I can heal my gut. Because remember, the game plan here, and I went to the natural medicine doctor, and I told him I want to heal my gut. I want to reset it. I want to take care of that first, and then I'm sure everything else will probably fall into place, right? And in the meantime, of course, I'm seeing my chiropractor. I'm breathing at night. I'm making sure that I'm releasing my diaphragm. I'm breathing more, better, and watching my diet. So I'm gonna wait for the results and see what they say, see how they come. I'm gonna go talk to my gastro doctor in the meantime, and I also have an appointment for the allergist. And then, hopefully we see, or if I'm not allergic to anything, then I know that doesn't play any part in it, and I won't have to be conscious about that too much every time I eat something, right? I can just concentrate more on just the diet and eating more healthier than just staying away from certain things, right? Of course, I'm doing the basics, staying away from sugar, greasy foods, fried foods, acidic foods, all of that. But let me tell you another part. See, this is it gets worse. It gets I feel like it keeps adding up that I actually missed from telling you guys. Right after I think like several days after the chest situation that I went to the ER, I started having burning sensations. Like I mean like not just acidic burning sensations, but like burning at the in Spanish, we call it en la boca del estómago, which is like the mouth of the stomach, which is literally the top of the stomach, right? Like here in the middle. I mean, burning, bro. I'm like, I've never felt this before. And I'm thinking, these sounds like ulcers, you know? It sounds like the stomach inflammation. I'm putting two to two together here, maybe 2, 3, 4, 4 together, something. And I'm thinking through all of that. I'm just like, bro, I'm talking to my parents, and they recommended that I will take if it is ulcers or something like that, to take one potato, and blend it with water and drink that in the mornings before I did anything, right? And if I needed to at night, and I did that for like 2 to 3 days, and things got better in that sense. But also 2, 3 days after, I also started seeing my doctor, my natural medicine doctor, and I started taking supplements for my gut. So I stopped the potato thing because I've been feeling decently. Because I feel like it also caused me a little bit of constipation, but it did help me, right? It helped me. That natural stuff just helped me. And it was literally a raw potato. You blend it and you put it in water, and it helps you for gastritis. They have been mentioning this for a long time in my country. They've been doing this for a long time in my country, and it helps whenever they have episodes of gastritis, that burning feeling. I've never felt that before, guys. I mean, I felt burning from like my chest, and sometimes I'll feel it in my stomach. Like you can feel when it's acid reflux. This time around, I'm like, dude, what's causing it? And then I went back even more on thinking what my surgeon said when he did the manometry study, that my acid is not really my major cause of a lot of things. There is other gastric juices in my stomach that I keep refluxing. That is not just a regular stomach acid. And I'm just like, oh my God. So all of this is playing a part. This is the reason when in my mind, and I came to conclusion, try to reset and try to heal your gut, right? And this is where I'm at now. To be honest, I wanted to make this video even earlier, but man, it's just hard, bro. It's hard having the motivation to do a lot of things, especially videos. Because usually when I go through a lot of struggles, I try to feel better and stuff. And usually I do. And then I'm like, okay, well, this happened and it passed, and then we got to keep moving forward. This time around, this was tough, man. I mean, my mental has taken a hit. My physical sleeping was hard with the gastritis thing. I think it lasted for about 3 to 4 days that those exact same feelings. And I remember it happening right after like the chest pressure and all of that I'm telling you guys, right? After releasing my diaphragm too, I just feel like something got triggered, or maybe that started happening afterwards. And I literally couldn't sleep for 3 to 4 days. I think I slept like 12 to 15 hours in like 4 days, And it's not like the good sleep, you 3-4 hours you're doing per night of sleeping. It's more of like you keep waking up, your body just goes to sleep because it's so tired. Have you guys been there before, where your body is so tired that you fall asleep, but it's not comfortable at all? You don't feel rested. Well, that's what happened to me. It's just beating my ass really, really bad. And this now where I'm doing, now I'm gonna, again, the game plan right now that I'm waiting. First of all, when I go to my doctor, my gastro doctor, I'm gonna tell him everything that's happened. I want to see what he thinks. My natural medicine doctor thought that it would be a good idea to get an endoscopy to see if like there's stomach inflammation. But I just told him, I was like, listen, brother, like I got an endoscopy in February, and I reached out to my surgeon, and he said that everything looked good inside, right? Everything looked healthy, nothing of concern from his end. But then my natural medicine doctor was like, well, maybe since then you've built something, which is a possibility. It's about 4 or 5 months now, which I don't rule it out. I'm like, damn, I just had an endoscopy. Like, imagine having another endoscopy the same year and being put back to sleep. Although it's a simple procedure, my mind takes a toll on because of, my anxiety, health anxiety, and you start, and then of course money, man, monetary. Like being sick is expensive, bro. Being sick, and I'm blessed that I live in my parents' house and my parents are doing well. but I pay for everything that has to do with my health, man. I kid you not, guys. I have to probably spend about, I mean, a couple $1,000s on my health every year. That's aside from me paying my insurance, by the way. Because remember, natural medicine doctors is not covered by my insurance. They don't take insurance. Now Western medicine they do, right? When I do these testing stuff, insurance helps, but I still pay, for example, a CT scan $200, $300. Now I'm doing this the natural test, another 700. I mean, shoot, like it's very expensive. Being sick is very expensive, and in general, but especially here in America, being sick, homie, hey, it's bad. You can get into debt really fast if you're suffering from health issues like mine. And I've been in debt a lot because of my health issues, right? This is a reason I've also slacked on my health, because constant maintenance, even after, you're feeling better, is expensive, man. And you don't want to spend that money, believe it or, well, you guys believe it for sure because you're watching my channel, you know what you've been through. Same here, man. And all of that is just, it's tough. It's hard. Again, even making this video, my chest feels tight, but I'm glad it's not as bad as it used to be, because I was really going through it, guys. And if you guys have an opinion or maybe something you think that might help me with my chest pressure, I personally believe that is my stomach inflammation mixed with the gas and the bloating that keeps happening and the constant chest pressure. And if I don't constantly release my diaphragm at night, right, then it's hard. It becomes a bigger issue. It becomes more tight. There's more pressure, and it affects me in that way that it happened when I went to the ER, which is literally one of the toughest days that I've been through in my life. And again, I don't know. I have no idea when I'm gonna name this video because there's so much information. I'm just gonna make sure that it is an update on there and put it on the update playlist, and see how that goes. Right, I'm gonna put my shorts on there as well, so you guys can see it, and just keep you guys posted eventually and see what the answers come about. Hopefully I can heal my gut and my stomach. I keep trying to eat even more fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna start juicing again, because I know that has helped me in the past, right? I gotta go back to what has worked for me. And when you hear all these stories that I'm telling you, sometimes you got to be your own advocate for your issues, right? You got to do your own research, try to put two and two together and see what helps you and maybe what doesn't. And that itself, it's a full-time job. Doing your research is a full-time job. So, well, that's all I have for you guys today. I don't want to keep getting more into the weeds of that, because I can tell you, I can sit here all day and what's been going on with me. But keep your boy in your prayers. I always keep you guys in my prayers, my YouTube family. Whether you're a believer or not, I always think about you guys and I pray about you guys, because I understand the struggles. You guys are not alone in what you're going through with your life. So, I'm 31 years old, and just thinking about, even if I were to live a longer life or a long life, it's a tough pill to swallow. Right, especially if I keep dealing and you keep falling on and off for that amount of period that I'll be living for. So, but I trust the Lord, and my goal really, guys, is not to be afraid of death. I don't want to be afraid. I want to have that perfect love that the Lord provides, and I am human, and it's still, I know the attacks will keep coming, but I gotta have faith. I prefer believing in something than believing in nothing, because in faith there's hope, right? And sometimes that helps, and I'm gonna continue to believe that. And one day hopefully I can achieve perfect love, because the Bible says that perfect love drives all fears out. And I want to get to a point that no matter what happens to me or what moment I'm going through or what is that the enemy or life is hitting me with, I don't want to be fearful, especially not of dying, right? Because to be honest, I don't know if dying is the same as when you get to put to sleep under, or when you fall asleep and you're just resting. But I mean, that's a peaceful feeling, So I just know that it's a tough, but listen, I'm gonna speak life over myself. I'm gonna speak life over you guys. As long as we're alive, we have to keep fighting, right? For your family, for your friends, and not to give up. So enough of my rant, but I love you guys. Stay safe. If you don't see me posting, very often as much, is because of that. Or maybe if I start feeling better and I start finding answers and things of that nature, then I will be posting some more. But hopefully, if this video helps you in any way possible, and if you have any ideas or maybe what I can try, I'm willing to, man. I mean, listen, I don't know it all, and I don't know it all, so I do need help myself. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Sorry this is a longer video, but I had to get it out of my chest so you guys can be aware of what's going on with my life. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for the love. Don't forget to subscribe. A lot of people, I think 85 or 95% or 90% of the people that watch my videos don't subscribe to my channel. Imagine that. No love, guys. Dang. Nah, but regardless, man, I appreciate you whether you subscribe or not. If you came across my videos, I hope it's all love. Take care. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. As always, peace and love, familia. See you guys soon.